Hey everyone, it's Janine, your local realtor here in the Edmonton area. Today I'm going to be going over what has happened in the real estate market in Edmonton during the month of March. So let's just dive into it. I just want to remind you that this report is based on the city of Edmonton alone. So we have a lot of little cities around the area like Sherwood Park, St. Albert, Beaumont, Nisku, Spruce Grove, all these other places. These aren't included in this report. For this report, it is just the city of Edmonton alone. So we're going to look at the detached single family homes to start. So this month we had just over 2,400 active listings and 668 sold. So that looks like just under 80% active and just over 20% sold. So looking at listings versus sold, you can see for the month of March we had a bit of a jump in new listings, not surprising as we go into the spring market, but it also is followed by a jump in solds. So this market is getting busier. Not surprising, it's pretty common for the month of March. So we did see an increase in price from month to month. We have jumped up to 475,000. We have dipped compared to last year, but that is not surprising. Last year was a really different year with really low interest rates that created a lot of demand and a lot of hype in the market. So we're kind of back to normal, but even with our interest rates increasing, we're still seeing price increase. And the reason for this is because there is still a lot of relocation buyers. So there's a lot of people moving out here from different places like Ontario, especially Vancouver area, a lot of places that aren't as affordable as Edmonton, they're coming here. And we don't have as much inventory as you would want as a buyer, if you're a buyer, because now it's going to be creating more demand. So with more demand, the price continues to go up. As a seller, it is good news for you if you're wanting to list soon because there isn't as much inventory, so you won't be competing as much. So just kind of taking a look over at the average price. So we are kind of steadily increasing, just like last year where we increased as well. We are kind of closing the gap between last year and this year. So it is interesting because the interest rates are much higher than they were. And I think that just kind of shows to you how much activity is still happening in the area. So what kind of properties are selling right now? The majority of the properties with single detached family homes are between 300 to 500,000. Those are the most popular. You will see if a house is priced good or competitive and it's a good property, you could potentially most likely see multiple offers at this point. It's not as crazy as last year, but it is still there, especially between 3 to 500,000. Looking at months of inventory, and this is kind of what I was explaining with why we're seeing a bit of a price increase. If you look at the price range between 3 to 500,000, you'll notice that there is not that much inventory. So that means there's still more demand and there's just not enough supply to keep up. So we are seeing more of a price increase. So if you're a seller, good news because you aren't competing as much as a buyer. You need to be quick on those properties that you do like because even though they're not going as fast as they were before, there is a really good possibility it could go quick. So days on market, and they aren't going as quick as they used or last year, that's for sure. So we're kind of back to a normal stat of just under 50 days on average. So how much is being sold at or over list price? And this kind of reflects what is actually happening too. So between the $300,000 to $500,000 price range, again, you'll see a lot more being sold at or over list price again, just simply because there's just not as much inventory. So taking a look at duplexes and townhomes. So remember, with duplexes and townhomes, some of them can be a part of a condo board and some of them aren't. So when they are a part of a condo board, usually the price is a little lower, and when they aren't, usually it is higher. So it could kind of skew the stats a little bit. So just keep in mind that this is just a general overview, and that goes for any property in terms of this market report. This is just a general overview. So you want to make sure you know If you're buying, you want to make sure to look at the specific market around your area, around that property, and same goes for selling. If you're planning to list, you really want to look at your own specific situation because every area can vary, even a street, a neighborhood, anything. There's a lot of different factors that go into this. So this is just a big overview of what is going on. So looking at actives versus solds, we had just over 800 actives and just over 300 sold. So meaning just over 70% were active and almost 30% sold. When we look at listings versus sold in the month, and you'll kind of start to see this picture of low inventory, right? The gap between new listings versus solds in the month is closing. So we're almost reaching new listings amount for solds. So that doesn't give a whole lot of inventory left over. So taking a look at the average price, we did dip down, and I know that seems not great, but it kind of really depends on what kind of properties are on the market. Remember, we don't have that much inventory. So if there's a lot more condo type of properties on the market, the price will be a little bit lower. If there was a lot more non-condo type of properties, the price might be a little bit higher. So it really depends on the situation. The price has dipped from last year, which is still not surprising based on everything that was going on. So let's just take a quick overview of the price. So we are down a little bit. I suspect it's just because of the type of properties that were on the market at the time. If we look at what was selling, this will kind of paint a picture. It was kind of more of the lower price ones that are selling. So that usually will mean that it was part of a condo board. So it's not too surprising. What that could mean is a lot of investors or a lot of usually maybe first-time home buyers trying to get into the market at a good price point. I know personally, for myself, I'm seeing a lot of buyers coming from other places like Ontario, for example, that are looking in these lower price points because it's like such a great way to get into the market, and these prices are unheard of out there. So it becomes really attractive to them. So months of inventory, as we kind of look again, there is a little bit of a lower amount of inventory for the lower price range. So not surprising, it kind of follows the trend of what is being sold and where the average price is. Days on market, we're kind of back to normal. You'll see some of these, the higher ones are a little bit skewed just because maybe there was only one that sold and it sold quickly. So it really depends on each situation. So as always, when you're looking for yourself, look at your own situation. I'm always happy to help if you have any questions and if you want to go over this, how it relates to you specifically. So taking a look at what has sold at or over list price, not as much is being sold at over list price. You'll see this 800 to 900, it's at 100%, but that's probably just because there was just the one that had sold at that price. So it kind of skews everything. But for the lower price points, you can see not as much going at or over list price, but it is kind of picking up from where it was from compared to the previous last couple of months. So taking a look at apartment condo styles, we had just over 1,200 active listings and 249 sold, meaning just over 83% active and just over 16% sold. So kind of taking a look at the listings versus sold. So the apartment kind of condos don't go as quickly in the cities, so you will see there's more listings compared to solds. So we aren't really short on inventory there at all. That being said, even though we aren't short on inventory, we are seeing a bit of an increase in price. And I suspect it is also just because these are attractive price points for especially first-time home buyers, investors, people looking to get into the market. So kind of looking at the average price compared to last year, we are kind of almost closing the gap compared to where we were last year. Last year, the apartment style condos didn't really peak as much as the other type of properties, just simply because with the lower interest rates, a lot of people were looking at like single family detached homes and stuff, looking at trying to get into that next level. The condos didn't really peak as much, but we are increasing compared to where we were just a couple months ago. So let's take a look at what kind are selling. Most of them are being sold for under $200,000. that's the most popular range for sales, but also the most popular range for listings. So if you are a seller, you want to make sure your listing is going to stand out and you're priced competitively. Months of inventory. We do have a healthier range of inventory, especially as you get in the higher price points, you'll see a lot of inventory. So if you are looking for a style condo at a higher price point, probably find a deal for sure. Days on market, we're kind of just back to normal, nothing too surprising here. And how much is being sold at or over list price? Not as much as the other types of properties, but we are kind of picking up a little bit for the lower price condos. So that's that. That's a quick overview of the market in March. If you have any questions, as always, I'm always happy to help. And remember, always make sure to look at the market to your specific situation, because everything can be so different depending on your own property and like where you are and so many different factors. So if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can call, text, email, drop a comment below, whatever it is. I'm always happy to help. And until next time, see you.